Happy February! I have super fun themes for the month, so I hope you are able to pop in for a visit each week. This month's theme is Groundhog's Day. You may be wondering, what's a groundhog and why does he have a special day? Well, let's sing our hello song together and then we will find out about Groundhog's Day together. Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? How are you today? I'm fine, how about you? I'm fine, how about you? I'm fine, how about you? How are you today? Let's read our first book together, and then I'll tell you a little bit about groundhogs. Our first book is titled Grumpy Groundhog, written by Maureen Wright and published by Two Lions. The mayor stood before Groundhog's door and heard a rumbly-tumbly snore. "Groundhog," he said, "you're sleeping late. This is no time to hibernate." The people added with a shout, "It's Groundhog's Day. Please come out." The mayor pleaded, "I'll ask once more." "Won't you open up your door? Please come out and greet your friends. Groundhog Day is here again." "I won't come out," the groundhog said. "I'm closing my eyes and staying in bed." "I have an idea," said a boy in the crowd. He stepped to the front and he spoke up loud. "Give him a paper to read in bed." "That's it," said the mayor, nodding his head. Groundhog opened his sleepy eyes. The morning Times was a nice surprise. The groundhog took a very long time reading the paper line by line. The people in town said with a shout, "It's Groundhog's Day. Please come out." The mayor dropped to his knobby knees and he begged the groundhog, "Come out, please." "I won't come out," the groundhog said. "I'm staying in here until I'm fed." "I know what to do," a little girl said. "Give the groundhog breakfast in bed." They served him food on a fancy tray, coffee and toast, and a flower bouquet. Groundhog poured coffee from the pot. This coffee is good. It's nice and hot." The people in town said with a shout, "It's Groundhog's Day. Please come out." "I won't come out," the groundhog said. "It's nice and warm in my cozy bed." A girl yelled, "Get him slippers to wear. His bedroom floor is chilly in there." "Of course," said the mayor. "Find him a pair. His little tootsies are cold and bare." Groundhog had never had slippers before. He did a jig all the way to the door. He twirled and he shouted, "Look at me. I'll step outside on the count of 3. The crowd yelled, "1, 2, 3, come out." "Ta-da!" he said, looking about. He blinked from the lights and the camera's glare. A child said, "Give him sunglasses." glasses to wear. "Hooray," said the mayor, "no shadow today. The chilly weather is going away." The groundhog said, "It's a wonderful day. I'll ask the children if they want to play." "Let's make a snowman," the children cried. Groundhog had fun being outside. They made a snowman round and fat. It looked very nice in the mayor's hat. At the end of the day, Groundhog said, "It's time for me to go back to bed. I had a fun day with all of my friends. When spring comes early, I'll see them again." Sometimes I'm just like that groundhog. My bed is so warm and cozy that it makes getting out of bed very hard. Here is a picture of what a groundhog looks like. Groundhogs are the largest member of the squirrel family. Groundhogs live underground in burrows where they sleep, raise their babies, and hibernate through winter. Some say that if a groundhog wakes from hibernating and pops his head out of his burrow and sees his shadow, he will go back to his burrow and will have 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see his shadow, then an early spring is on its way. I hope this year the groundhog doesn't see his shadow. I have a song to share that is about the groundhog and his shadow. I'm a little groundhog, furry and brown. I pop my head out of my hole and look around. If I see my shadow, I'll go back down for 6 more weeks of winter underground. Oh, I'm a little groundhog, furry and brown. I pop my head out of my hole and look around. If I don't see my shadow, I'll stay out here and enjoy an early spring this year. Our next book is titled Groundhog's Runaway Shadow, written by David Bedrzynski and published by Charles Bridge. The only thing that could keep up with little Phil Groundhog was his shadow, no matter how fast he ran or how high he jumped. His shadow followed his every move. Whether he laughed or cried, his shadow was always right there beside him. Even when Phil felt small, his shadow could make him feel bigger. But everyone grows up, even groundhogs and their shadows. Grown-up groundhogs are expected to act a certain way, but Phil's shadow had other plans. Phil's idea of the perfect vacation was taking the bus to the local beach. Shadow dreamed of visiting faraway places. Phil loved scary movies. Shadow, not so much. Phil enjoyed eating dandelions, clover, and tree bark. Shadow craved something spicy. Phil liked to be on time. Shadow liked to stop and smell the roses. At first, Phil found Shadow's behavior amusing, but a little off-key. Phil's friends found it amazing and a little gross. But soon it got annoying and then downright embarrassing. Ew. Phil had had enough. Why can't you be like other shadows? I wish you would just go away. Shadow was crushed. He got angry, but then he thought about it. Phil said he should just go away, and he had always wanted to travel. So that night, and the next morning, and a couple of days later, and into the next following week, that's exactly what he did. Back at home, Phil tried everything to find a shadow. "Oh, Shadow, where are you?" He posted signs. He used the newspaper. Then he saw Shadow making news without him. Suddenly, Phil's life seemed pretty dull. He longed to be exploring with Shadow. Halfway around the world, Shadow realized something was missing. He had no one to share his adventures with. The thought of searching for Shadow scared Phil silly. He'd have to travel far and wide. But the next morning, and a couple of days later, and into the following week, that's exactly what he did. He searched, Shadow, Shadow, and he searched some more. Finally, when he could search no longer, he had an idea. He began to play, and when he did, he heard someone gently accompanying him. The two friends played together this time in perfect harmony. And the next morning, and a couple of days later, and forever after, that's exactly what they did. Have you ever seen your shadow? After our visit today, why don't you take a grown-up outside with you and look for your shadows? Now I'd like to share a little counting activity with 5 little groundhogs. The first little groundhog digs a home in the fall, and he curls up all winter, rolled into a ball. The second little groundhog comes out of his lair on February 2nd to get some fresh air. The third little groundhog looks up at the sun. He then sees his shadow and goes on a run. The fourth little groundhog, at his shadow he peeks. He goes back to his burrow for 6 more weeks. The fifth little groundhog hopes the skies will be gray so that he will know that spring is on its way. I hope you enjoyed our time together today. I know I did, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Now it's time for our goodbye song. Now it's time to say goodbye, say goodbye, say goodbye. Now it's time to say goodbye. See you all next